All right, hello.
Hi.
Heroes, villains, sidekicks.
Oh,
Hello, and welcome to the Umber Initiative post show. I'm gonna lower the music.
Yeah, maybe
it's very distracting, and
we are
in a mood.
we're comedic.
Welcome to the episode 6 post show. You're watching this because you're a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, look at you.
And because we had 6 episodes.
Yeah, you know.
And we just didn't know what else to do with it.
You know.
Thank you for joining us, of course. We're just going to talk briefly, maybe about 20 minutes plus whatever, about what just happened. We are fresh off the presses. We just got out of the episode.
Winding down. Chilling.
Episode 6. So, a lot. It feels like a lot happened.
Yeah.
Another heavy episode. This one was heavy in a different way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we started the episode with our heroes kind of dealing with the aftermath of the death of Lacey. Spoilers, by the way, for these post shows. Why are you watching the post shows?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
An observation I made in the middle of all of this was that her death had a lot more weight than anybody could have thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought about what, like, Corey, you made a comment off stream that I thought about, because you were like, I don't have any connection to this character. I don't care that she died. And I was like, I mean, it makes sense. He didn't know her at all. So I was like, okay, I need to make it like the crux of this story is like the people of Arcadian Haven. I just needed to make that more and more evident. So I just needed to make Lacey's death resonate a little bit more.
Yeah, it was really good because it showed that like the decisions we make and the things that like happen with these characters have consequences.
Yeah, because there was a funeral and stuff, it felt like it was a real death.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to just like
They're
a
gone
dude
now.
I punched as Adam and he died.
Right.
Well, Guard 2 doesn't get the funeral.
And-
in D&D.
But like in a campaign where we're having these characters with such rich backstories that are dealing with the consequences of things happening to them or things that they've done, like it feels only right that something like this would have happened.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I have a question for you, Colby. I'm just curious. Is this where you expected us to be in episode 6?
I expected the Raj stuff to happen last episode.
So we're a little behind?
This is it. Session 6.
That's what I meant.
No, I would say maybe a little bit behind, like a very smidget behind, which is good. It's a good place for me to be because it makes me feel confident about like I'm not far behind. I like to try and stay at least one step ahead of you guys, just so I have some semblance of like I'm not pulling shit out of my ass with improv stuff. You know,
I feel like that gives you a chance to like confirm and solidify your ideas. Like, yes, this is exactly what I want to happen. And it kind of gives you a chance to like.
I have to stay fluid with how everything goes, but I also need the rigid rules because all too many times, somebody will make a campaign and they'll make the rules up on the fly, and it's really bad when you do that.
Right.
Not every time, of course, but it's pretty bad when you just lack consistency and then you contradict yourself partway through a story with I thought you said kin were this,
right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
No, like, you firmly established that. That's
got a lot of Jordan stuff. I think, this episode.
This
cool.
it was kind of a conscious decision. I've been
shipping.
I've been keeping his backstory kind of close to my chest for the last 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of instilling a sense of like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? Like that's kind of like what I've been trying to establish with him. We talked in the last post show episode about how like he's got this kind of like suicidal ideation now since everything happened with Arabella. And I'm glad that kind of went over, at least with like Neo. Neo mentioned that in chat. Like he's like, Jordan's like suicidal. Something's up with him. Like something not good is with him. And when I read that, like really early on in the episode, it kind of like
Feels like you're doing your job.
yeah, it clued me into to realize like, okay, like if he's getting it, then other people that are paying attention to this are getting it, and maybe now is a good time to kind of open up a little bit about what has happened to him and why he is the way he is and
I had
what
kind of
caused him to get there.
I had kind of like a similar feeling I believe it was last session, and I think it was Neo too. Just even by looking at like the stats of like Demon Lady, she's like, oh, like she does not give a shit about Arabella's body because her defense and her defenses are so low, and I was like, yes, thank you. Like, it's so nice
it's
when
great
like
when the numbers tell a story just
it feels
words.
good when somebody picks it up and you're like, that's exactly what I was going for.
It was cool when he said that, because I didn't even like imagine or like consider that to be a thing.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts of having an audience is when the audience picks up on the subtleties that you are making. It just feels so good.
Everyone's on the same wavelength.
Right.
And with before we get off of this subject, with Jordan's like life and the exposition of his backstory and everything, like
there's so much.
Yeah, and like I've kind of like I've laid a handful of it out. That conversation with James was totally unexpected. I know you had plans for him. And things
well, that's
like
like
that.
So James was planned.
Yeah,
the conversation. The Natalie wasn't.
I knew the James thing was something that could happen whenever, and you were just kind of waiting to pull the trigger because you were the one to initiate it by Jordan's phone ring.
I have a unique power there.
Right, you can drop that whenever, and that was cool. I knew that I wanted, as Jordan's player, his puppet master, I knew that I wanted him to reveal that to Natalie. And what was kind of cool about that was, like, instead of just me showing up and dropping that on her, James was kind of a good buffer for that to begin.
Right. Okay.
And he kind of... I think that if Jordan didn't have that conversation with James before speaking with Natalie, he would have been angrier in revealing things to Natalie.
I did like that, those parts of Jordan's story like coming out, and the way that it came out with the phone call at first starting like really aggressive and being like, what do you want? Don't call me, I'm moving, like, you know, fuck you, basically. And then like having that realization, like, all right, like maybe I should calm down, and then keeping that same like forward momentum into like talking to Natalie and like keeping that momentum of being like, you know, like I'm still mad, but like coming to that realization, like maybe I can do something about it almost.
Yeah, there was an enlightening that I think both those characters kind of like put into perspective for Jordan, James especially, and that was really unexpected. His like thing of just like you've seen how small the Earth is from space, what the fuck are you running from, kind of thing. And
world's round, man. You're eventually just gonna hit yourself again.
Exactly. And like I love that because that just kind of like forced Jordan to kind of look in the mirror.
I really wanted to make a flat Earth joke.
Oh yeah, you should have, because that was like the prime chance to do
that. Was, I mean, that was the joke, right?
Yeah,
like you've seen a dude, like, you know it ain't flat. Like, fuck, man.
The Earth's on the back of a turtle. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if like I pulled out like dude, you know you're just gonna run the edge of the turtle, and you'd be like,
you're gonna stack of turtles.
My head would have just like does not compute.
You know, the turtle. And then like I made it canon that the world's on bad with turtle.
I mean, I thought we explored that the last campaign.
Going to space, it's turtles all the way down.
Turtles all the way down, man.
Oh yeah. But no, it was really fun to finally start to spell things out a little bit as Jordan. I felt like 6 episodes deep, if the audience has stuck with us that far, they deserve to know.
Yeah, I like that Jordan, you know, it's cool that the one character had to be the first one to spill the beans, like of the players, right? And like now it's time to open up that, like, to progress their personal arc kind of thing. I'm glad that Jordan was there, because like it was the first to do it there. I think that's
I really think that it's cool that like I almost feel like every session is like, it's not cyclical, but it's, you get little tastes.
It's like
of
a
like,
drip feed.
Yeah.
But it's there's never a dull moment where you're like, oh, like, I know what's gonna happen. Or like, oh, obviously this is their backstory. Or obviously, like, it's never like all out on the table. Like, and each episode is so like fluid that like you have this big moment. Like, I really like getting to have that big moment as Arabella and turning into this thing, and then coming down from it and being like, I don't know what you're talking about, so like sucks, and then just like totally switching it up to like Jordan's side of the story, and now we're focusing on that. So any questions, and even before Arabella was like Barrett, like just doing his stuff with his gun motorcycle thing and
gun
like
cycle.
It's always like each session we have just leads to more questions and questions that like will be answered, but it always keeps you like, oh, like I want to get this answer, like I need to know, and then it throws another like question at you and you're like, well, now I need to know that.
And it's
like,
difficult as storytellers on all of our sides to be like, okay, how much info do we give? Like, is it enough? Like, because we know what's happening, we know everything, right? To some degree, and then you have to wonder like, oh man, am I confusing the reader? The viewer.
Right. Yeah.
Am I giving them too much? Am I giving them too little? They're just not interested anymore. Who gives a shit? Like, that's always really.
We're
tough.
kind of like measuring beats as we do this.
Right.
It really, I said it before. I've probably said this about almost every episode now that we've fallen into the rhythm of it, but it, like, we're all getting so fucking good at improv now. Like, I feel myself getting better as it goes on, but it's this campaign in particular, because we keep things so condensed and like we have like strict 2.5 to 3 hour formula. It feels almost like this, like you're like watching like a 12 episode hour long like show, and each show has like 3 acts, and we have 3 acts almost every single episode.
Can I say that this episode was like it reminded me of the first episode where I really liked the pacing of it.
It was great.
Because we had those really 3 acts. We had the like Jordan getting up and getting out of bed and dealing with his interpretation of what the fuck happened the night before and digging into his backstory a little bit, and then the second act was the funeral and everything that came with that whole situation, and then the third act was everything that happened at the theater.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I really enjoyed the fact that I tried to open up a little. I tried to open Barrett up a little bit, but I'm always so like conservative with what I say with him. But it was nice finally just being like, hey, this is why I'm here. Like finally.
But also not though.
But vague as fuck.
Just still being like really sketchy.
But it's like again, it just gives you more questions, and you're like, I need the answer.
And that's so true to the character. Which just kind of adds to the way you're like presenting that delivery.
It just felt good to be like, here's confirmation. Like I'm here to watch Arabella. Like,
it feels good as well. The fact that I feel like it is a very difficult thing to do, to give players free time and have it be fruitful.
Like significant in some way.
And
what you don't want is a shopping episode.
Exactly.
I think something that, not to like interrupt, but I think like we're not being self-indulgent with these characters, and that's like saving us from like doing that, having free time where we're just jerking off.
I think
it's all jerking off.
That's
metaphorically speaking.
It's a very difficult thing to do, and I think that it gets pulled off very well. I think we all work. I mean, obviously we all work well together, but the fact that it's like you're saying, "Oh, go. What do you want to do?" And the fact that we each have something that we want to do that like comes into like more story or has an impact on something.
I think to reiterate what you asked before, David, about like, oh, how far behind are we? Like, I think going with what you just said there, I mean, you guys aren't behind at all, right? Because like every time you go off my quote unquote script and you guys do your own thing, it just furthers the plot. So if anything, you're way more ahead than I ever could have planned.
It's like doing the side stories.
You're doing the side missions. But going through the plot more, we had the Mother Adele conversation.
Oh, that was so good.
Wild.
That was so good.
That was all before all the Jordan shit.
Every instance when it was Jordan last time and now Barrett is like, like delicious.
You can feel boss energy coming out of her, and you know we're gonna have to confront her about some heavy shit eventually. Because the line is beginning to draw.
It was like that was, as soon as this episode started, that was the first thing I knew that I wanted to do. I was like, I'm just gonna wait for everything to calm down, and then I'm gonna go in there one way or another. Just because Barrett knows, like, hey, she's been around Arabella forever. She probably knows what I know, and I just wanted to go in there and just be like, it's out in the open. Like, I know.
Everyone's just like these conversations of like, here's the topic, and everyone's going in every direction around.
It's like the big elephant in the room.
I'm trying to play Barrett as a character that's very much like that. Like, I'm not gonna run in circles with this conversation.
It's cool seeing the chess game being played between Mother Adele and Barrett in that conversation.
That's cool.
You know, and
trying to not say too much, but trying to say exactly what you need to say.
And both of you kind of doing that, right? Like both of you are pulling the exact same. Like nobody wants like
straight to the
nobody wants to throw all their cards on the table.
Right.
It was so interesting too because you could tell that both characters could like read each other like a book. Like you know exactly why both of you are there, and you know that she's hiding.
But
the
you're not
truth
gonna
about
say.
her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she knows that you're there to kill her. And you guys are just like being cordial and civil and like hashing this thing out before it has to come to a head like that. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
The tension that whole
the
time
confidence
was awesome.
too is
Mother Adele's turned into definitely one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, me too.
she's good.
She's
very good.
There was not to interrupt. There's a moment with Mother Adele where it was right at the beginning of the episode where Mother Adele was talking with Arabella. It was when she like grabbed her and was like basically being like, shut up and don't worry about anything anymore, and then through the faith line. And I like leaned over to David because the music changed and so did your mood and so did the character, because like it was really like stark and sinister almost in a way, and then like the piano hit like a note, and then there was a silence, and then like a lighter, happier, calmer song came in, and the personality of Mother Adele flipped and went from like shut the fuck up to trust God.
And
it changed over. It was one of those weird moments like we've had like playing off of the soundtrack where it just like everything lined up and like it was perfect. And I couldn't get over that. It like solidified the character to me as like powerful and emotionally scary.
I am still very curious about Bowie and
me
about
too.
Raj. I am very, very excited to have more scenes with Raj.
Yeah,
He's definitely up there with like I think one of the coolest characters.
I think I just will just go right into that since we don't have much time. Just the whole, the third act.
The lore dump.
That.
Oh my God, the lore
absolute,
dump.
Basically, the Umber Initiative gets like the group gets their thesis statement now, their mission statement.
Right.
You know?
It reminds me of I'm a gigantic nerd, so it reminded me of a scene in Final Fantasy 14 where they sit you down. It's just like a PowerPoint presentation in a cutscene. They're like, this is how the universes work, and this is how this like the energy in the world works. This is what it's called. This is what you should do and not do.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. I mean, I'm kind of into this.
Yeah. So the idea of what kith and kin are has been, this has been teased since in our teaser stuff that we did before the stream started, like kith and kin, So it's really nice now to finally get to what
meat.
are they,
Yeah.
and refine these ideas.
Kith,
It like
kin,
put something bigger than us, like
Kith,
there.
It was
kin,
Kith, kin,
bygones,
Spawn. I wrote everything down.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
my character has an eidetic memory, and I was like, this is gonna fuck me later on, but
I just wrote everything down because I'm dumb and have a bad memory.
I like the idea of what a kith and kin, what they are and what they what they
they're
can
like
achieve.
one and the same, but also not.
And I think what a lot of what they represent in the initiative universe, so to say, it can reach far back as campaign 1 because I've been thinking about it.
I was like, when we were doing this, obviously I couldn't say this in character or like as a player or whatever because like I don't possess that knowledge as Jordan, so I was trying to like react to all of that as Jordan or whatever. But is Animus Kith?
I can't say anything.
Oh, it's so
find
fun.
out.
It's
You
so
freak.
Kith. It's so Kith.
I definitely think there will be ties.
Yeah,
Which
can we talk
I'm all
about
for.
all
I'm all for.
the throwbacks?
Yeah, all the campaign 1 references in
There
this
were a lot
one.
this episode. Yeah.
That's what's important is making sure that I definitely want because it's a unit, it's a shared story.
Yeah.
And I think that should be embraced in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but it needs to be in a
It was-
digestible way.
Right.
Yeah, it was like none of us really like acknowledge it.
like like I threw the Lacey thing,
Right.
being inspired by I wonder who
Yeah.
it is. You know what I mean, like stuff like that.
It has to be enough so that viewers are like, what is this, and people can be like, that's campaign one.
You like
Right.
that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like,
That's the
But it can't be so much where like you need to watch campaign one to understand. You know?
I've always said I'm a huge sucker for callbacks and things like that, but I'm super careful about it because I know it would just kind of derail things if we go too
it just
deep
alienates
into it.
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I like
So keeping it vague is like good, but also it makes them more interested.
right, and I've with Jordan's backstory directly tying to it in a different perspective, like in not a like these kids are heroes kind of perspective. It's fun to toy with how we present campaign one to this audience and the new audience that we have, because we have new people here that watch us that didn't see campaign
chat.
one.
Like,
That was great. That was awesome.
Right.
Especially after that raid for all the birthday wishes.
Yeah, that was
I gotta
awesome.
put birthday in the title every time.
That'll do
I know,
it. We
apparently.
gotta lie about our birthdays more often. This is
All right,
Colby's
whose
third birthday this year.
Lands on a Wednesday.
But yeah, that I've been looking forward to the finally getting into like my character stuff now. Trying to set
It's
it, and I
my
want to see how
turn.
you characters, you know, now.
Fuck, my birthday's on a Thursday. this year.
I think what happens now is like the serialization becomes a lot more narrow.
Yeah.
And now that there's like a central through line, it's now like, okay, everything's not as random now.
Right.
Now you guys kind of have like a goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and now,
Thickens the
and who knows what's gonna try and stop you from achieving that goal.
I wanted to bring up a big mystery when I went to try and find Lacey's body.
Yes.
That was
I think I know what you were trying to do.
yeah.
I'm like pretty confident.
I'll probably tell you when we're not on mics, just so we can like
Yeah.
But
that was
I wanted that to be a moment where everyone's like, what is this man doing?
It was.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Every situation
Like, what-
involving you and her dead body so far has been
Yeah,
like,
it's
what the
been
fuck
weird,
is this guy doing?
All right. That's the end of our post show.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in every week. Spread the word. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Thanks for listening.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.